Translation in language services can look like a lot of different things, but in the context of voting, it's simple. Receiving voting materials in your first language. This access has come a long way since the National Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965. That law said there should be translations at the polls, but it only applies for Spanish, Asian, Native American, and Native Alaskan languages. California has since built on the national law to include more languages. In San Diego, that means an additional 4 languages.
But also we've seen at the local level in California, some leading municipalities like San Francisco and Oakland that have also passed language access laws and policies, San Diego as well. So we've seen this proliferation at the local level as well.
That was Jacob Hofstetter from the Migration Policy Institute. He's studied language access law across the nation. But those voting materials and languages required by state and local laws aren't on the actual ballots. Instead, they're on reference ballots. That doesn't necessarily translate to equitable voting access, according to Deanna Kitamura from the Asian Law Caucus, who are one of the sponsors of the bill. She says people don't actually get a ballot in their language to vote on.
But the language assistance is very limited. So what they're entitled to is what's called a facsimile ballot. What that is really is a translated reference ballot. And so you can't actually vote on it.
And that's where this new bill was supposed to help.
And across the board, we heard that the facsimile ballots, the translated reference ballots, they were better than nothing, but they were confusing, difficult to use.
The bill aimed to get rid of those reference ballots and require actual votable ballots in different languages. Rahamo Abdi from Pana San Diego says that could have made a huge difference for the communities that she works with.
So when they're comparing the English ballot to Somali ballot or the Arabic ballot, it was very difficult. So that's why it's so important for this AB 884 to get us a votable ballot.
But election officials had qualms. Jesse Salinas is the president of the California Association of Clerks and Election Officials.
So we'll double the amount of languages we would have to be able to provide. And one of the true challenges that we would have is translation.
He said technology, vendors, and funding couldn't meet the bill's new requirements.
What we've calculated is if you start just to reprogram that in LA, they did an assessment. It's going to cost in LA over $25 million.
The San Diego County Registrar of Voters declined to comment on the bill, but says even offering reference ballots takes a lot of work.
With our budget and the time available and the technology we have and the languages that can be supported by our vendors, we follow the law of the state of California and the federal law.
But Abdi still saw this bill as the next step.
Instead of really comparing facsimile ballot to the English ballot or just using community members or their kids to go vote, this should be a fundamental right for everyone.
Abdi said the veto of AB 884 was a missed opportunity for justice, but she says she's not giving up. Elaine Alfaro, KPBS News.